Al Jazeera describes him as one of their bravest journalists, and the organisation says his death is a desperate attempt to silence voices in anticipation of the occupation of Gaza. That after Israel's military admitted it's killed Anas al-Sharif and 4 others, describing him as being a Hamas cell leader responsible for advancing rocket attacks against Israeli civilians and IDF troops. Rights advocates saying he was targeted for his frontline reporting on the Gaza war and that Israel's claim lacks evidence. Well, let's cross live then to Jerusalem, speak to correspondent Noga Tarnopolsky. Noga, bring us up to date then with what the latest is and what Israel's saying on this.
Well, Israel, as you just said, is saying that he was a terrorist and that it had, quote, previously disclosed information regarding his terror activity. They don't say to whom they may have disclosed this, whether to Qatar or to Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera, in any event, denies completely and totally that any of its employees are terrorists, and certainly regarding Anas al-Sharif and Mohammed Kreike, who is the second journalist killed in this targeted hit today. Al Jazeera is referring to this as a targeted assassination. And as we know, many journalists have lost their lives during this war. I do want to say that the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, on this occasion did release much more information than they usually do when they target someone, but these are all infographics created by the Israel Defense Forces. We didn't see, for example, receipts of Anas al-Sharif, for example, having received a salary from Hamas, or images or recordings. What we have is an infographic created by the Israel Defense Forces that shows him in a tree of command for Hamas. I don't think we've heard the end of this story at all, and I think we're going to have to ask for many more explanations from the Israeli government, but mostly from the Israeli army regarding this event.
In the meantime, Noga, is it becoming any clearer exactly what Israel's plan is for Gaza?
It really is not. If anything, it's getting more and more confusing, and Prime Minister Netanyahu is having a very tough time persuading his own citizens that he's on the right track. A majority believe he's going the wrong direction, but a much larger majority, including, it appears, his own ministers, have no idea where he's going. He announced on Fox News on Thursday that Israel intended to take over all of Gaza. He then passed a very unclear vote through his cabinet after a 10-hour debate, but we found out later that the ministers had never seen any operational plan, and in fact, it wasn't clear what they voted on. He then put out an announcement saying not a takeover of all Gaza, but a takeover of Gaza City. Yesterday, in his Hebrew language press conference, he really underlined that the Israeli army has never yet focused on Gaza City, that this is sort of, what the Israeli army still has left to do. And immediately, families of soldiers who lost their lives besieging and taking over Gaza City in November and December of 2023 spoke up, as did all the military journalists who quickly found recordings of Netanyahu saying back then, "We have taken Gaza City." So it is unclear where he's leading Israel. There's enormous confusion here, I'd say, and more we're hearing opposition from parents of conscripted soldiers, opposition from reservists. A major strike, a national strike, has been called for next Sunday by the hostages' families. And Tuesday night, tomorrow night, there's going to be quite a dramatic event in front of IDF headquarters in Tel Aviv with more than 400 Air Force pilots, some still in the reserves in service, others retired, demanding an end to the war.
Noga, thanks very much. Noga Tarnopolsky, our correspondent, joining us there from Jerusalem.